God is good, and today we're going to be talking about Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, Visionary Realms, Dev Roundtable, October 2021, and I'm going to be discussing and wrapping up all the major details that we got from this Dev Roundtable for people that don't have an hour to sit through it all. We're going to be talking about focus testing, champion pledges, guide program, the test server after launch it means, testing and pre-alpha, new MMO releases and how Visionary Realms is looking at those, server events, and other details. So stick with me and let's discuss Pantheon Rise of Fallen. After all, for each day that passes brings us a day closer to the launch of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Before we begin, I want to give a major shout out to the members of Napalm. I could not do this without you. You are the sponsors of this channel, and I thank you for your contribution, allowing me to keep making videos on MMOs, RPGs, and of course, puppets. If you are interested in becoming a member of Napalm, please click the join button down below. It is greatly appreciated. And a very special shout out to the Lords of Napalm, Bounty Code, We Tote Bitcoins, Jared Woodhouse, and Daimlos. Thank you for your highest tier membership. Alright, so let's get this show rolling. So first up, they talked about focus testing, which is definitely a thing, and there will be focus testing happening. It's happened before, it's gonna happen again, and what it is, where select VIPs will be eligible to take part. Now what they do is they run a random number generator to keep it fair. Sometimes they need to test something and focus on it, and they bring in groups to try it out and get the exact feedback they need for development and generally precede an open VIP session. So when they do a focus testing, it's very likely that there is an open session for all VIPs to participate coming soon. Now before opening the gates to the larger group, it is important sometimes that they get to try out some things and get some general feedback first. Generally, these are looking at like 2 to 3 hour play sessions with these focus test groups. It is really great for putting out fires before the bigger crowd shows up. Next up, they talk about champion pledges and how these can now move over to the VIP Discord. They aren't seeing as many champions make the jump over as they thought they would, so if you are a champion pledge member, you need to get on this bandwagon and get on there so you can get the skivvy on the latest info and be involved with Q&As and all the great perks you get from being on that Discord. So get your tickets in, let's get you moved over. Now the guide program, which is like community help in the game, which would be like a volunteer service where you help the community, a mentor if you will type program. They do talk about there could be some legal concerns. They really love the ideal of it and want to utilize a community, but the foundation or system for that hasn't been fully realized yet, but we can very likely look forward to something like that being in Pantheon. Then they go on to discuss the test server. They wonder if doing a test server post-launch really does the job. It's been seen in other games that test servers oftentimes don't actually serve the purpose they were designed for and tend to become a place for sneak peek content or access to expansions for free instead of dedicated people to test for bugs and issues. They are considering a few options, such as a test server that would only be open when the testing is needed. And then they move on to talk some more about testing in pre-alpha. So Visionary Realms has taken an old school approach to testing. Anybody involved can agree with that. The pre-alpha testing is actually really pre-alpha testing. It's not an advertisement. And having the servers up all the time like we would all love during pre-alpha is simply not really substantial, not really even possible or worth it or even feasible. However, as time goes on, we will see more testing and we will see the servers open a lot more. Now, I do believe what people want now is probably what is more likely going to happen in beta, as in like the servers are open for like a month, right, of just pure raw grinding testing. They also mention how awful Minus is at PvP, which I had to comment on because I have personally seen this firsthand and can confirm this is an absolute fact. Then they go on to talk about new MMO releases. We don't have to throw any names out there. I think you pretty much know what we're talking about here. They're paying attention to the drama and the mistakes made during launch to best try to launch Pantheon Rise of the Fallen as best as possible. But please understand, if they pull off a perfect launch of their MMO, it would actually be the first time it has ever been done in history. So they can pay attention and try to avoid the big pitfalls, but when releasing an entire world full of intricate details and systems working in tandem and affecting each of the other systems in a complicated web, it is unlikely unlikely that any MMO can actually launch perfectly. Let's get our standards and expectations in check, please. Server events they talk about next. We're talking about big server events hosted by the development team, by Visionary Realms, and they are going to have some of those. They are also hoping for community events as well, in which I have many great ideas ready to roll myself, so at least on my server, it's a guarantee. They also mentioned the volunteer program that we talked about earlier, the guide program. They're hoping they really hop on board and help with community-driven events as well, or even maybe they could be involved with the Visionary Realms events as well. Now, this was a dev roundtable based more around QA, but I think some of these tidbits are still pretty important to the development of Pantheon Rise of Fallen. Well, I mean, obviously they're super important to the development. What I mean is our personal information and our thirst for hunger for more information on Pantheon 24/7. If you want to see the full developer roundtable with Michael and Jason, and of course Kilson, then I will have the link for the entire thing in the description down below. It's a great listen, great group of people at Visionary Realms having great conversations. But I believe I've covered all the main points of what was in that for you and save you a bit of time in case you don't have time to watch the full thing. Of course, we have lots of Pantheon news coming, so stay tuned here on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Seriously, why haven't you subscribed yet? You're hurting my feelings over here. And also hit that like button. It really helps me fight the evil YouTube algorithm. And until next time, my friends, God bless and happy gaming.